favor, if you're standing in the back, or let's do this, you don't have to come up to the front, there's a lot of empty seats up front. Raise your hand if you have an empty seat next to you. Okay, so folks standing in the back, plenty of seats, and we're going to go from there. So I'm Lawrence. Welcome to Houston, Texas. Welcome to Goodman. And somebody's calling me right now. It's probably one of you guys making a joke with me. Okay, but out there, and you millennials out there about what is it that drives you in some of your decision making. So that's part of what I'm going to talk about this morning. But as the digital experience person, I have several jobs. Number one, I'm the internet sheriff. That will come up during this meeting, and I'll be glad to talk to you about what we do as far as policing the internet, about what's happening with our brands online. I also am charged with figuring out how to keep distributors and dealers relevant as the market changes. And we definitely believe as a group that the market is changing, the consumer is changing. As David mentioned, his lovely wife Anna, how they pick their hotel and their restaurants, how did they do that? Okay, they did it online. How are consumers looking at you now? Are they looking at Yellow Pages anymore? I don't think so. So I'm going to talk about some things this morning, and disguise this as state of the industry. I will give you some things that are happening economically, but I think the theme of this is what's happening in the market. So the title of my presentation is Things That Make You Go, Wasn't that a song in the 80s? Okay, maybe the 90s. So here's some things that make you go, All right? So I wrote a book called Mega Stuff. 3 things that are transforming our lives. And for those academics that are out there in the early 80s, this is actually, I plagiarized the book Mega Trends by John Naisbitt, who went through 10 things that he thought was going to affect us in the future. He was right on about 7 out of the 10 things. So I'm just going to talk about 3 things that are changing the way that we do business. So why am I the guy that's doing this? Well, perhaps I'm the only one that they offered the job to, or maybe I was number 10 that they offered the job to. Maybe it was because I have a master's in consumer studies, don't know. Maybe my 28 years in the military, so I don't really get too intimidated about things. Maybe, I doubt it. I think it's because I have 2 millennials, a 27-year-old and a 30-year-old. And I just watch how they do things. I watch how they communicate. I watch how they buy things. Maybe that's why I'm doing this. So, okay. So we're going to talk about transparency. We're going to talk about personalization. And we're going to talk about money in the economy. And that's the state of the industry part. So everybody with me? Okay. Only got one person looking at their watch right now. That's good. All right. So, transparency. What does transparency mean? All right? I'm framing transparency as far as what is the impact of the internet on our businesses. If the consumer is turning to the internet for facts, right or wrong, that's going to force us as merchants to be transparent in our pricing, transparent in our goods and services, and it's a very, very uncomfortable discussion with most heating and air contractors because people like me in the 90s, okay, taught you guys how to bundle your pricing, how to give that one-line bid because you're the doctor, okay, and they're not. Right now we're trying to tell you you perhaps need to unbundle things because of the internet. So what do I mean by that? If you look to the slide here at the bottom, transparency is an issue because we're used to being, as I have the young man here on the slide, we're used to being the doctor. We come in and the marketing rules will tell you that 9 times out of 10, when they may have called you because you were Bryant, they may have called you because you were trained, they may have called you because you were Goodman, if you went in and said, if it were me, this is what I would do, 9 times out of 10, what does the consumer say? Okay? An even more powerful statement would be, if this was my mother's house, this is what I would do. But now what happens? This is what I would do. They say, okay, thank you. Hey, wait till my spouse. The equipment is getting commoditized because there's more equipment and there is demand for it, so what happens to the cost? It goes down. How many of you are successful in reading text or even office help? Okay, not very many hands. Okay. Labor, technical expertise is diminishing at a rapid rate. It is the biggest threat to our industry. Yet I can't tell you how many contractors that I train that still count their labor as overhead. Labor and your technical expertise is your #1 profit center. I'm not telling you to be a labor-only contractor. I'm saying value what supply and demand says. Okay, you should value. If something is in low supply and high demand, the price should be fixed. Your trump card over digital is your sweat equity and your technical expertise and your ability to install equipment. So HVAC is not alone. What's this? Bed Bath & Beyond 40, Nordstrom's 4. Holy crap, Payless 2100. Is that good news or bad news? These are stores that were closed by these retailers in 2019. Nordstrom's is doing pretty good. Just 4. Payless, not so good. Okay, the whole chapter 11. So we're not alone. So do we just sit there and complain about it? Okay, and just go about our business? Or as stewards of the public trust, I saw a great t-shirt out there with the company logo on the back. As stewards of the public trust, what do we do to change our business to continue to earn that public trust and to continue to get business, okay, to support our loved ones and support our families? So what is personalization? So data's everywhere. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, crafting the messages that we see. I'll give you a great example of creepy. All right, I'm in San Antonio, and I'm watching that. And I was with one of my peers. He's a watch nut too. We just seen each other saying, hey, I'm looking at this cool watch. And he got his Android phone now. I have an Apple. And he showed me the watch. He said, that's you. You need to get that. Okay, never heard of the brand, but it did look great. Time goes on. Next morning, I open up my Google feed, okay, to read the news. There's an ad on my Google feed. Guess what it's for? That watch. Okay, just by standing next to that person who opened it, okay, somehow I got a cookie, okay, in my Google for that watch, that ad. That's creepy. Okay? All right? How many of you use social media? You did that one search for that one thing that you didn't want, okay, and then what shows up on Facebook now all the time? Joe Schmo that you like loves this product. I would love, okay, for someone that was searching for heat and air, and the next time they go on Facebook, your ad pops up. That'd be pretty cool. So, personalization is the fact that I don't want a cookie cutter, good, better, best approach. I'm looking for something specific, and I'm looking at you, okay, to deliver that something specific. That's what personalization is. There's a great metaphor in sports. Where's my Alabama from this? Okay. Oh, there, okay. Nick Saban, okay, knows that when he recruits, that speed kills in sports. Okay? In digital, lack of speed kills. So think about that. Think about your websites. Think about your digital marketing. And we have assets here to help dealers and distributors, okay, be fast when it comes to digital. All right. I got 10 minutes and 53 seconds to go on this, so I'm just doing okay. All right. Money. I'm going to talk to you in generational selling, which is the second part of this presentation, tomorrow, about something that's probably more important, which is lack of money. But let's look at the hair index. This is my own personal economic look at what's happening. So the leaders of the free world, Donald Trump and Boris Johnson and the Prime Minister of Great Britain, they're trying to look at these things. This is a joke, for those that, I wouldn't know a hair index, okay, if it hit me in the face. So according to the hair index, the economy is all over the place. Would you agree with me or disagree? All right, let's look at some examples of what I mean by the economy is all over the place. So in December, we're having the second Hardy conference. There is the Hardy conference for this year, but last year I went, and their economist spoke to us and said, well, I know I was up here in 2018 and I told you that we were going to have a recession in 2019. Well, I'm moving that out to 2021. And then he overlaid 1919 to 1929, and then he took 2009, and overlaid that over, and we're on the same sine wave for the depression in 2029, which is depressing, okay? I'm not here to prognosticate on that, okay? But we're supposed to have a recession sometime. I don't see it. There are things that trouble me. So, for example, interest rates are still favorable. That's good for investment. I do a crane count. Go to a major city and count cranes. If you see a lot of cranes, the economy is in good shape. My other index, other than the hair index, is the airport index. If I have an empty seat in an airplane, I get nervous. I haven't had an empty seat in an airplane and I don't know how long. The airports were still packed, which is a great sign that the economy is still very favorable. Unemployment is very favorable when it comes to the economy, unfavorable to us when it comes to getting good help. But those that are employable and worth being employed, they have jobs. But there's an undercurrent to that, which is underemployment. What's underemployment? I have a job, but it's certainly not what I intended to get, okay, when I got my degree, I got my master's degree, okay, or I have a job, but it certainly is not enough for me to service my debt that I got out of college and have a life. So there's a tremendous amount of underemployment in the economy. The wealth gap is very real and very divisive. There's this notion of plutocracy. And if you were objective about things, and this is not a political statement at all, okay, and you look at what is the plutocracy, is that you have haves and have-nots. And if you look objectively at what's happening in our economy, we're having more of that have and have-not dynamic happening, and it's extremely divisive. And we are having a presidential election. What kind of good news happens for everybody's stupid, right, in the presidential election? You're stupid, you're stupid. Well, the guy we're running against is even more stupid. Let's quit beating each other up and talk about that stupid guy. What does that do to consumer confidence? Okay. What does that do for investment? Okay. And then what happens as soon as the election is over? Okay. So election years are not very good years, okay, for investment. It's just the way it goes. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat in the White House, Republican in the White House. Election years are very tumultuous because we have a 24-hour news cycle and they have to fill it with something that's normally not good news. So, here is actually from the experts. This is the 2019 JP Morgan Chase headlines. Number one, congratulations. You're doing business in the golden age of HVAC. That's a quote right out of JP Morgan. What are they looking at? They're looking at the stocks. They're looking at JCI. They're looking at Daikin. They're looking at Linux. There's some RAND, Carrier, or UTC. And from a stock performance standpoint, they're looking at distributor stocks, saying we are definitely in the golden age of HVAC. They're projecting 2 more years of industry growth. That growth over the last 7 years has averaged 8%. So you can do some simple math in your head. If your business is growing above 8%, you're exceeding what the industry is doing. If you're not meeting 8% growth year over year, perhaps you're lagging a little bit, let us help you figure out what we can do to get you in growth mode. Residential is leading the way. Add-on replacement is there. I guess the last 30 years, for every 5 add-on replacement jobs, there's 1 RNC job. We're kind of returning to that dynamic. RNC there in the bubble was over-indexed compared to the rest of the market, but that's starting to normalize. But that residential, I don't mean residential reconstruction, I'm talking about add-on replacement, is normalizing back to where it should be. Commercial's hanging in there. Applied is still a little bit down, but commercial is hanging in there, and included in commercial, actually included in residential, multifamily is about flat. So ductless is gaining traction. We see that in our sales with our Daikin equipment, and we probably get a lot of questions about ductless, whether you install it or not. So, but we see that as growing. And it's all good until 2023. I'm not saying it's going to be bad in 2023, but Mark Hagan is going to get up and talk to you folks about the regulatory changes that are going to happen in 2023 and how that's going to impact the market. We're having a refrigerant change that happens in 2023, as well as new energy efficient standards. And give you some idea of what that means is that a 14 SEER today, okay, will not be 14 SEER in 2023. So, got to change, and all the manufacturers are going to have a complete overhaul of all their products. So it's going to be interesting to see when manufacturers start introducing their new products. So, one more thing. What really drives purchasing in the U.S.? I still think that it's watt per hour head-to-head in Japan, and okay, Europe. So, headlined by Germany. So, we still believe that the value segment is going to be driven, okay, by cost of operations, by cost of money and lack of money. And we're pleased to be able to make you competitive in that segment and also offer ductless, offer premium, offer all the goods and services to make your business as profitable as you possibly can. So, that's my first part of the presentation.